Welcome, scooter heads, to the Electric Scooter Podcast, episode 21, where we will continue our conversation with President and COO of Phat Scooters, that's P-H-A-T Scooters, in Arizona. In 2020, Phoenix, Arizona attracted more residents than any other U.S. city for the fourth year in a row. Arizona is becoming an epicenter for electric vehicle and self-driving technology. It's now the site of 3 giant semiconductor factories. The United States currently is struggling to increase production because of a global chip shortage you may have heard about on the news. Arizona has an organization called the Arizona Commerce Authority, and they say they have helped 634 companies to relocate or expand in Arizona between the years of 2015 and 2020. Some of these companies include Intel, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, massive, and I understand their building is complete, but they haven't finished completely moving there yet. Also, electric vehicle companies like Lucid Motors, Electromechanica. They have this little solo vehicle that they make. So by solo vehicle, I mean one person sits in it. It's got 3 wheels. Nikola, they're kind of a Tesla rival. Atlas Motor Vehicles. And I believe Tesla even has some kind of battery building infrastructure down there. I know the lion's share went to my home state of Nevada. Why am I telling you all this? Well, it's simply to set the stage for part 2 of my visit to Phat Scooters in Phoenix, Arizona. As I mentioned in episode 20, I walked into their factory in Phoenix, Arizona, cold. I had not done my homework, and I didn't know what to expect, and I was pretty much blown away. Phat Scooters was started in 2017 by 3 buddies who were tired of walking and riding bicycles in the heat of the Phoenix, Arizona summer and wanted something with fat tires, a comfortable seat, and they started a company that is producing scooters that are very customizable, and because of that, they are in high demand by famous people in our society. You know, rappers, golfers. I think golfers is huge, but also NASCAR drivers, football players, basketball players like Dominique Wilkins, and actors like Bill Murray, one of my favorite people on planet Earth, probably. So I was surprised at some of the things Derrick had to say, and you can hear in the interview the reactions from me are genuine. So let's get back into the interview with Derrick, the president and COO of Phat Scooters in Phoenix, Arizona.
There's a sidecar that shipped out this morning. This guy wanted like this, I don't even know where they got it. It's some sort of like old parchment map, and we had to like put it in there and glaze over it. It was like just crazy, ridiculous stuff. Wow. We've seen military guys bring in medals and things and want them in their seats, like embedded inside the seat. So we'll try anything once, and we'll try to make a buck on it if we can. I mean, these are not these are not budget scooters. We've also had high-end car manufacturers. We've done 2. Can't say the brand, but one of the biggest, highest end car manufacturers in the world that had us build 2 custom scooters for their executives with their brand.
To get around the factory.
Yeah, just to
probably,
get around,
right?
just to go screw around. And it's like,
those factories are big. If you're going to get from point A over to, the assembly line, say from the office to the assembly line, and you're a billionaire, you own, let's just say one of the Italian brands or whatever, and you're going to get from there to there, and you've got meetings lined up in that day, for that day, are you going to really want to trudge across the entire factory, hop on that thing and people are going to turn their heads too, and they're, hey, there goes Massimo, or there goes whoever. Yeah.
And we've done the same thing with yachts. We have a couple customers that we have. I just did one here recently for a founder of one of the big fast food chains, and he wanted it to match his yacht. And we had to fly in some special decking from a company called C-Tech, and we had to bring that in and match it up to it, and then custom design all the paint, But I mean, guys like Todd Graves that owns Raising Cane's, he puts his dog in the sidecar, and he just has a new TV show out, and I guess we're in it a bunch of times because he's got a custom scooter with it. So, I mean, those are the kind of things that we do, and this is not really a mass-produced product, right? It is customizable. We're trying to get better with sort of standard customization where you can pick a frame, you can pick 6 different handlebars, you can pick 30 different custom decks, and floorboards, and you can pick 15 different fenders. So you can make it look custom even though it might not be, full on. We have 3 full-time designers that all they do is on Zooms all day long with customers, and they're holding up materials and they're like, can you make it out of this Coach bag? Okay,
like, for
we can
example, the Nike is sick, and that involves a very complicated pattern because it's patterned after a shoe, right?
I mean, it's crazy. There's cowhide in it. There's colored leather. There's all sorts of materials. We did another one for somebody that was sponsored by Nike. I guess Nike made this inside out shoe one time for like some sort of crazy demo thing. We literally made an inside out shoe seat for this customer that wanted it to match this shoe, and it's like,
hey,
okay,
give me the money,
yeah, exactly,
and I'll do it.
We'll try. So it is a little bit different, and I mean, we still. It's funny that we don't have them out there today, but you'll still see the one wheels and the Segway 9bots and stuff laying around here because that's how we get around. Driving a 160-pound vehicle through the warehouse sometimes isn't the most efficient, but
the Segway 9bot is the scooter that I recommend, and also Chuck Temple, the founder of the Electric Scooter Guide, for first-time buyers because they just last. They have that very thick slime on the inside of the tire that prevents punctures.
We have the same thing.
If you get one on the side, you're just kind of out of luck, I think. But so you pre-slime your tires?
Oh yeah, we use Tire Jack, and actually, as part of the TV show, we actually run. We actually made a bed of nails and we rode the scooters over there.
Way.
So much that the guys actually just got tired and they're like, there's no way to break that. It's unstoppable. You cannot puncture one of our tires.
Because I will tell you this, as an electric scooter guy, that tires are the bane of every scooter owner because they're so difficult to get off. There's a guy on YouTube, I haven't interviewed him or talked to him, I just watched a YouTube video, who owns a lot of scooters, but he first started buying scooters 4 years ago, and he's got one that he hasn't ridden in 4 years because he got a flat tire. Bought it off of Alibaba, waited 3 months to get it, no support. I always tell people, scooter heads, please, if you listen to my podcast and you ignore absolutely everything I say, remember this: buy from a United States distributor. And I don't mean not even a European distributor, because I talk to folks in Europe. There are people in Europe that get scooters from China, and they literally take the box and just turn it around and sell it to the customer.
All the time.
Always the optimum is what you are doing, where you have people, an assembly line, people putting them together. Second best is what other folks like Apollo and Voro Motors and Rev Rides and these other guys, Fluid Free Ride down in Florida, are doing, is they get the scooter from China. Hopefully they have some kind of interaction with the factory. Hey, can you make this bolt a little less sharp, or can you change the kickstand, or this, that? Hopefully that's going on anyway. But the second thing is that when they get that scooter at their U.S. warehouse, they're pulling it out, they're tightening things up, they're doing a quality control check on it. But the optimum is actually what you're doing.
Yeah, and I mean, even the Asian product that we bring in right now, and today on the line we're building from parts, but if we were building from our supplier from China today, we literally disassemble every single bolt, nut, and screw out of that scooter, replace it with a better quality one, and Loctite it in. Because we've seen, if you don't Loctite these things, I'm telling you, the parts, you can hear. I have ridden, and we're really big on buying all the competitors' products, and I've got them all sitting out there in a container, and I can ride all of them, and it's crazy. We'll ride them around our little track back there, and then we go with the big metal thing, and we go figure out how many screws and bolts fell out.
Every scooter head knows when you buy a scooter, the first thing you do, take that thing apart. I mean, there's certain ones you don't want to touch in the speedometer or whatever, but every one that you can, pull those out. And it's the blue Loctite.
And we started using the Loctite stick, which is a little bit nicer too, because it doesn't drip as much onto the scooter. Because Loctite is pretty. It'll eat the paint, right? I mean, it will. You don't want to get it all over everything and all of your electronics. So they make a lipstick now. It's expensive. I mean, it's like $30 a little stick, but it works. It lasts you forever, and it works really, really well. But that's why we also do tire jack. We put that in every single thing we do. We also run a proprietary 72-volt system, which I'm not an engineer, so don't ask me too many electrical questions. But one of the things that we get every single day is people calling, and they're like, "Hey, I bought this thing on Alibaba, and I need a charger." And we're pretty much like, good luck, because you're never going to find
your charger
anything.
has to match that battery specification exactly.
And even some of these have different, BMSs in them and all sorts of different things. But I have seen it happen a million times where a customer calls and they're like, "I bought this charger off Amazon. I plugged it in and there was a loud pop. What do I do now?" And I'm like, this isn't a Phat Scooter, number one, because our stuff's all proprietary. But they're like, "Is there any way to fix it?" I'm like, it's just garbage. Just throw it in the garbage. I mean,
sometimes though the pop just comes along with plugging it in, because some of them do. There's a good,
usually
there's an okay pop you can live with, and then there's a bad
usually
pop.
The pop they call us for is there's a smell that follows it, and it's like that's pretty bad. But that's why we have always run a 72-volt system. And listen, it's funny, if you go on Google and you look at our reviews, the negative reviews are always the same thing. "I bought an $800 scooter online and I called these guys to fix it and they said no." And I'm like,
right.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you cannot.
Because it's not fixable. I mean, it's literally a one-time use. I showed you the origin story scooter out on the floor, right? Yeah. That's the first one we ever got. It was something that was bought by a doctor friend. He brought it to a barbecue. He's like, "What do you guys think?" It made it 1 week. And that was the end of that scooter. It never ran again. And my guys have even looked at it like, let's try to bring it back to life. Nobody knows what happened inside of it, but it's garbage.
He looks like the Pee Wee Herman in a room full of UFC fighters.
Right, yeah.
Poor guy.
Right. So, that's why we are very big on service. We're very big on warranty. We have a 2-year warranty on our battery, a 1-year warranty on all the parts.
Can I ask you who makes the battery? Is it LG or
actually,
Samsung?
This battery the new battery is actually from, it's a proprietary battery to us, and it's made in you pronounce
Shenzhen.
the Shenzhen. I do not know the name of the actual factory, but we've looked at the Panasonic batteries. We've used the Samsung stuff in the past. This one is completely proprietary to us, so it's using some technology that we've come up with. And I think most of the cells are going to be those Samsung or Panasonic cells. That's what everybody's usually getting now. And then it's just the form factor in the end of who's putting it together for you. And the BMS is the big thing. The battery management system is the big thing in all of these. And it's truly amazing what you can do with that BMS, because our scooters, although we limit them all to 20 miles an hour, so it's bike lane legal, could I ungovernor that to go to 60? Sure, I could.
So do you have a program mode that you can change, that you can go in like an LED screen or something?
So it's with our new units,
we call them P modes.
Yeah, with our new units, you've got to plug in one of our laptops to it, and we can reprogram that. We're working for next year on over-the-air downloads. So you could call into our customer service and say, "Hey, I'm actually struggling with this." You can geofence our units starting next year. You can, one of the, I think it was Daytona Beach was having a lot of issues with scooters for a while, and they said that they'd make them legal if you could geofence them, that they could only go 8 miles an hour on the beach.
On the beach.
On the beach, they can only go 8 miles an hour.
Okay.
But you pull it off the beach and you can go as fast as you want. So those are the kind of things that we're working on innovating for next year for our 2022 models, where we can actually programmatically, we can actually GPS download to that and say, "Hey, if you're in Hermosa Beach, you can only go this fast. If you're, in this area, you can go 27 miles an hour. If you're here, you can do 22, and really try to abide by those laws, because we don't want people to get in trouble.
Phat Scooters. Phat Scooters. Phat
Scooters.
Governor DeSantis of Florida is quickly becoming somebody that I kind of like because he just passed a law. Do you know what that was? And that is that scooters, electric scooters, have all the rights of any bicycle. So that means bicycle lanes, anything. Yeah. So you can't have signs that say bicycles only, no scooters, or anything like that. He's the first governor to do that statewide. He signed it into law. So I think you're going to start getting more customers in Florida. It's great for the business.
It really is. And that's one of the things that a lot of people like about our scooters is you can ride them in the bike lane. We do limit them to 20. There's lots of scooters that go faster than 20 miles an hour.
I got mine to 55
I believe
miles
it.
an hour.
But I will tell you, and I can tell you from experience, if you're going more than 20 miles an hour in the bike lane, you will get a ticket.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
The police here are over it.
Absolutely. And I've seen it in multiple states. We just had it happen in San Diego again, where the guy was going downhill and he was going a little bit too fast, and they pulled him over and said, you're going 21 miles an hour, and you now need a license and all these kind of things. So 20 is really that top limit that you want to try to go to. And we've just limited ours for that, for a reason. We didn't. And also it's a safety thing too. I mean, product liability insurance for scooter companies is not cheap. Every year you sell more units, and you got units out there, so it's hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars. And, you want to make sure that, people don't get hurt on the product. And that's what we're trying to do.
There's a statistic that I read. And again, we talk about scooters and scooter lifestyle and everything. If you want to measure your handlebars or know how much torque a certain scooter has or whatever, go along with the electric scooter guide. So I'm paraphrasing an article that I read, but it was, again, the U.S. government contracted this company to find out accident rates on electric scooters. And I read the entire article, and it was saying how in the past 3 years, and each year it's gone up by this many, and head trauma and concussion stuff. And at the very end of the article, you know what they said? They said fully of all the people that were in scooter accidents that admitted to emergency rooms, 80% of them were both over the alcohol limit and not wearing a helmet.
I believe
so
that.
Whatever statistics you see about scooter accidents, take away 80% of that. If you're a responsible human being who's going to wear a helmet and not get on one drunk.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And listen, I mean, let's be honest. I mean, that's one of the reasons that I think the market has flourished is, the police aren't really sure what to do.
Yeah.
When you get pulled over and you've had too much to drink, they're like, I can't, do I just give you, and most of the time they just write you a public intoxication and they tell you, get out of here. And that I think has been the reason that the Lyman's the bird. Yeah.
Traffic hazard or something like that too.
Right,
people riding against traffic with traffic coming at them. Right. They're going bar hopping and stuff like that.
And it is funny. I mean, we've had mayors here in town that told us they're like, if we could ban everybody else but you, we would. Because our rider tends to be a little bit more affluent. It's not a rental. Mm-hmm. They own it. If they did rent it, I will tell you, when we have some rental shops that rent our scooters, most of them are $25 an hour or more. So it's not the kid who's, just fresh out of college, trying to make it a mile. But you're also
with the big fat tires, you're going to be less likely to go into a ditch when you hit a pothole.
Exactly. And because of the limit on speed too, I think that's helpful. But
if I bought one, the first thing I would do is do your satellite, get rid of the governor, reprogram that thing.
That's awesome.
But Vegas, we have big, wide open streets, and it's not. I'm not cruising through, downtown Phoenix or San Francisco.
Awesome. Well, thanks for having me. This was great. I really enjoyed it. And I mean, I think the only thing I certainly love to plug, obviously, phatscooters.com, but, Riding Phat, which is the TV show that's coming out. There's a few things online about it right now, but, that's coming in about 30 days. And it's on the Crackle platform, and it's a completely free, streaming platform. And we're excited about it. It's a great sort of, I think it's great for the whole scooter industry for people to see, that this isn't just like you buy them on Alibaba and they get shipped here, right? There's people here in the U.S. that are doing the work and making them.
If something happens, on the off chance that something happens, you get some kind of crazy flat tire and you don't know what to deal with it or whatever, there's someone on the other end of the phone.
Absolutely.
Try doing that with Alibaba.
Oh
But
my
it's a
goodness.
joke.
Hey, listen, one of the funniest things is we had somebody that was on Facebook selling a scooter that looked like ours. It was a knockoff, and they were selling them for like $199 or something. So this is a couple of years ago, and our CEO at the time, he's like, let's buy one and let's see what happens. So about 6 weeks later, we got a package and we opened it up, and there was a foam boogie board in it. And that was it.
A boogie board.
Just a boogie board, just a piece of foam. And we tried to charge back. We tried to do everything. And
So it was a scam.
It was completely
Total
100% a scam.
It's amazing that they even sent you anything.
I
though.
know.
It's like,
I was
why
really
bother?
surprised that they actually, like, we were like legit, like, wow, that was really nice of them to actually send us
They
a
sent
$3
something.
piece of foam instead of our $300 scooter. But
That is incredible.
But if it's too good to be true, and I tell people this all, we get a lot of people that try to, I can probably find 10 websites right now that say they sell our product. They don't sell our product. I mean, if it's if you go to our website and it's $3,000 and you go someplace else and it's 1,800, I guarantee you it's a scam. I mean, that's just the way it is. And I get it now. We're a bit of a target. You know, we're a predominant brand in this sort of market, particularly in the golf space. There's nobody else that does what we do. And people want to try to take advantage of that. And it's unfortunate. I mean, we get calls all the time and people are like, hey, I have this order number. And we're like, that's not one of ours. And they're like, no, it says Phat Scooters. And we're like, you just lost your money.
Don't think for a second, scooter heads, that because you're not a NASCAR driver or you're not in the NFL, that this is not a scooter for you. Because I'm telling you, if you want something pimped out, looking cool, and you want to cruise down the boulevard, whether it happens to be downtown Waikiki, the Las Vegas Strip, whatever that equivalent is in your town, the cafe scene, let me tell you, check these guys out. What would you tell customers if they wanted something? How long is the wait?
Yeah,
from
so
the time?
usually if it's something that's in-house, like if it's just you're customizing it with things that we have, we're usually shipping in about a week to 10 days.
Really?
Yeah, full custom is about 3 to 4 weeks. Unfortunately, right now, we're actually in between suppliers on our batteries, and we actually ran out of batteries. So we're about 6 weeks right now, just because we're building the scooters. We just don't have the batteries. The batteries got delayed in customs and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we're just waiting on those to come in. But usually we're turning pretty
That's
fast.
still incredibly
Yeah,
faster. I thought you were going to say 3-4 months.
No. I mean, usually our showroom is packed too. So, locals here will stop on a Friday and pick them up and have them for the weekend.
Wow. Well, you might just have a customer right here, because I thought about them a couple years ago, and now that I've toured the factory and seen some of the product that you make, I'm really impressed, and I just have to think of something really
Cool to put on
looking.
there, right? That's
exactly.
awesome. Well, cool.
All right, Derek. Well,
thank you very much.
Good talking to you, brother.
Appreciate you very much.
Bones it out there. You can't see that because you're listening to a podcast, but this has been an incredible experience for me, and I hope scooter heads out there will give them a look.
Absolutely. Thank you.
All right. Aloha.
Phat Scooters. Phat Scooters.
I should mention that I did not ride a Phat Scooter prior to the interview for the podcast. And after the podcast, I looked around the factory a little bit, talked to some people, and went home without riding a Phat Scooter. So the next day, I thought it would be cool to bring my Wolf Warrior to the factory, give their engineers a little bit of a chance to cruise around and see kind of what I'm looking for in a scooter. Knobby tires, a little more speed, that kind of thing. And while I was there, I rode a few of their scooters. And it's a different experience. That's why I said earlier in the podcast, just because you own an electric scooter that you're happy with, that doesn't mean you don't want to think about a Phat Scooter in addition to that. And that's precisely the thought process I'm going through right now. A Phat Scooter, to me, is something really pimped out that really says, look at me. Something you can be proud of, cruise up to the cafe or with your buddies or whatever it happens to be. But I also am here to tell you that the riding experience is completely different. I found it more like surfing. And I come from a surfing background. I don't think other people that ride these Phat Scooters ride them the way that I do. I was reversing myself. I'm goofy foot. I put my right foot forward, but I was flipping my entire body around to crank turns. Because of that fat tire, if you're going to do anything intense going in and out of cones, like I was doing slaloming and things like that at speed, you really got to force that thing to do what you want it to do. It is not nimble, but it is fun. It's just different. I'm telling you, it is a different experience, and I used a lot more muscle. I know most people that own these, they go from the golf club to the golf course. They're cruising from the swimming pool to their running facility to go train and that kind of thing. And they're sitting on the seat and taking it easy and looking good as they're doing it. But I wanted to stress test the thing in their parking lot. I rode it through their factory into the parking lot. And it took me a second to get used also to the hand throttle, which is interesting because I own multiple motorcycles. I've been riding motorcycles longer than I've been driving cars, put it that way. And still, it was strange. I'm so used to the trigger throttle. But there was one point to where I was on the throttle, and I don't know if I was moving my index finger thinking it was going to do something, but my hand was on the throttle, and I did not slow down. I end up jumping off of the scooter, still hanging onto the handlebars, and running along their dock and just hopping back onto the Phat Scooter. I haven't looked at my video footage yet, but I did set up my cell phone just to record a little bit of what I was doing. And as a reminder, if you would like to see what I saw at the Phat Scooters facility in Phoenix, Arizona, check out Dagwood Streets YouTube channel. And I always say this, and I have to say this. I'm a podcaster who occasionally does YouTube videos to accompany the podcast. If you're listening to this podcast and not really getting a visual idea of what these scooters look like, or I didn't paint a picture of how expansive the factory is and you'd like to see that, just go to the Dagwood Streets YouTube channel and don't expect a huge cinematic triumph of video or photography, but you will get an idea of what happened the day that I was there and maybe listen to a little bit of music. So that's it for episode 21. Stand by because we will be talking with Zero to Epic as he crosses the United States on scooters. I think he's down to 6 scooters. I want to say he started with 10. Anyway, we'll get the deets later on. I'll put out some mini episodes and we'll check in and see how he's doing, what he's been eating, what scooter's his favorite. That's what I want to know. Check out what kind of issues he's had. I know he's had a flat tire. I believe his 011X fried the motor. And I'm going to ask him if he was in dual motor mode, because if you're going distance and you have a dual motor scooter, use that dual motor, because if you're using single motor, you are more likely to stress it and burn it out. So what I do when I go off-road on my Wolf Warrior with a knobby off-road tires is I'll ride in dual mode to get to my location, maybe 5 or 6 miles or whatever, and I generally switch to single motor as I'm off-roading. But in certain situations, depending on the type of soil that I'm in, how rocky or how hard packed it is, and whether I'm going up or downhill, I will constantly change between dual and single motor. There is no simple answer. I wish there was. We did a test to try and figure out, hey, dual motor on the way and single motor while you're off-road. Unfortunately, it's a little more complicated than that. And it's something that you've got to get a feel for, because hard pack, it's fine to go single motor, but when you get in really loose soil, you want to switch to dual motor. But anyways, we'll find out what Zero to Epic's been eating, what towns he's passed through. I know he's been on the local news quite a bit. He's been interviewed a lot. You can follow his progress on the Electric Scooter Guide. They have a tracking app called Glimpse, Glympse, where you can track them basically up to the minute. And if you just Google Electric Scooter Guide and Scoot America, Zero to Epic, those kind of things, you'll come up with all that stuff. So that's another thing that we have to look forward to. So until next time, keep the shiny side up and dirty side down.
Phat Scooters. Phat Scooters. I'm big. I'm fat. I'm big. I'm fat. Riding fat. Riding fat. Red fat. 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 Whoa! I'm turning. I'm going straight. Look out for that golf cart. Riding fast. Riding fast.